Hello and welcome to Overcoming Roadblocks that are preventing your success. I am so excited to have you on board and watching this 6-part series, all dedicated towards entrepreneurs who are struggling in their business. Whether you are just starting off, maybe you've just quit your corporate job and you have this vision of wanting to start a new business, but you're just not sure where to go and how to start. And it just feels like there's just all these roadblocks happening, preventing you from fulfilling that vision of making a difference in the world. Or you've been around for a while, you've been struggling and, it's just like plugging away. And it's like, why is it so hard? Why can't I just make this work? And that's why I put this series together. And I am so excited for the guest that I have on today because she is an intuitive life coach and she works with business owners just like you, helping them understand where are those roadblocks coming from and why are they happening? Why do they keep cropping up? And most importantly, what can we do to get rid of them, get them out of our way so that we can start doing what we want to do? So welcome to the show, Kathleen. This is Kathleen Carlson, everyone.
Hello, Susan. Thanks for having me here today. And I got to say, you're so timely with this. The suffrage we see all over right now, and especially it's really tough to be a business owner and be out there on your own right now. And this couldn't be any better placed right now. The overwhelm is everywhere. So thank you for having me here and having that chance to have an impact on that. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for saying that, Kathleen, because, as I introduced you as an intuitive coach, and it was my intuition, like I just had this need. It was something that I have been witnessing, especially since COVID. Nobody has really gotten back into their groove again, or if they have, there's a lot of internal dialogue going on that's just, some negative stuff. And there's just this oppression going on. There's just so much happening in our life that I just felt I just had this calling, and I so thank you for responding to my call and putting. This was like really quick. We decided to do this really fast, and we needed to get it out there really fast so that everybody can get going in 2023 on an excellent start. So I can't wait to to have this whole series put together so that everybody can enjoy all of the valuable insights and information that they're going to get. But today we're going to talk about why these roadblocks, well, not even why they're happening, but what are they? So why don't we start off with that? Can you help us explain what exactly are roadblocks and why does everybody have them?
It's kind of interesting because everybody does have them, right? And so where do they come from? Why do we have them? And how do we use them? Because you mentioned COVID, and that's interesting. It knocked us off our blocks a little bit. And that's kind of what a roadblock is, right? It's something that stops us and says, okay, hopefully it stops us. And it says, this isn't working. We need to make a different turn. COVID brought this giant mirror out, right? To show everybody, hey, something needs to be different. And that creates a lot of stress in people. Not everybody embraces change. So change in itself can be a huge roadblock. Knowing what to do in the face of change and how it's going to affect you, and the fear of how it's all going to work. But one of the largest roadblocks I find is that big giant mindset that says, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and this is why something is expected to go exactly this way. And then of course it doesn't. So that comes up as a big giant disappointment, failure, roadblock, right? Or this is how exactly it should go. And it does. And so, you sail right through. Most of us don't have a whole bunch of those sailing right through things. So I think the roadblocks, the worst roadblocks, I mean, there's real roadblocks for sure. They come up, stores close, business changes. Those are things that just happen and you have to adjust. But I think you're more heading toward what are the roadblocks that we put in there for ourselves. And that's kind of why I titled today, Where Did You Get That Idea? Because we often operate with these preconceived notions and we make them fact for ourselves. We get them at, the very beginning of our life when people are trying to teach us the right ways, and we're getting influences from everywhere, and they're kind of working on the back of our head. And so whenever we're facing any situation, especially anything in business, we're relying on what we think we know. And I guess that's why I say, where did you get that idea? Challenge that for yourself. Is that even your idea? Is that a belief that you want to really embrace? Or is there a better thought? If you could throw it all out and start over, what would that look like?
Yeah, and that's really fascinating, because you're right. Like, where did you get that idea from? Where did you get the idea from that you have to do everything yourself?
Oh,
Where, like that, right? Where did you get
right?
the idea that you have to be in competition with everybody? And there's so many nuances to entrepreneurship, where I'm ending up asking the client, okay, well, where did you get that idea from that you had to do it this way, or you're wrong? And so
Right.
we're very vulnerable sometimes as entrepreneurs, because we don't know everything. We don't know every single thing that there is that needs to be known to create a very successful business. And then that
Sure.
leads to all kinds of self-talk that can be addressed with, where did you get that idea from?
Oh my gosh. And it's that self-talk that, it starts out as a thought, then it comes out your mouth. Next thing you know, it's an action, and you're full blown into it. And then your ego keeps you staying in it because you need to be right or whatever. But it's it's a slippery, slippery slope. And the funny thing is, not so funny. I don't think we all really realize how much a thought or a belief in one area of our life can affect all areas of our life, including, and probably most especially, business.
Yeah.
You can have something that you embraced as something from a very young age that just really simply isn't true, and yet you're operating on it, and it doesn't at all feel like you. And there's a reason it doesn't, because it's probably not you. It's probably something you just picked up and took along, and before you know it, you're starting your business, your career, your life, your whatever it is that you're giving your passion to, and you've got a big bag full of everybody else's thoughts. So the
Mm.
challenge lies in, what is it that drives me? What do I know about me? What do I know that's true for me that I can use and create this life that I want? And that's a big challenge.
Yeah, and that's so awesome. I'm so glad that you brought that up, because I think a lot of people, we just don't realize how much our childhood is affecting our adult life. And it is those beliefs that we picked up as a little child. And it could be something so innocent, like an uncle or a mom or a dad saying something very innocently, and we interpreted that completely different, and made that a truth about ourselves. And then from there on, many of our choices that we make, whether it's in our life or in our business, is based on that false truth. And I just find that this very fascinating, because it's I think it's important that we all realize that the choices that we make right now are based on beliefs that we created back when we were very young. And it's our subconscious trying to keep us safe, right? That's the whole
Exactly.
purpose of our subconscious, is to keep us safe. So no, don't do that. You're gonna, lose money or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I think that's one of the main reasons why I really wanted to have this series, is to help people understand that the reason why things are happening is because of a succession of choices that got you to this point, and then the
Oh
choice of
boy.
how to deal with this point too. And you were talking about COVID. When COVID hit me, I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like I was literally almost getting into depression, because everything just felt so irrelevant all of a sudden. Like,
Yeah.
so anyway, that's a whole nother topic. But yeah, let's talk more about these roadblocks, and how, how do you go into more detail about how these beliefs that we created when we were young kids, how do they affect us now as business entrepreneurs? And what can we learn from that? What can we do with that?
Oh my gosh, that is such a big question, and it is such an important question. And let's first just say most of these things these beliefs and things that we carry around, they were brought to us in a very innocent way for the most part. Our parents did the best they could, our grandparents, our churches, our schools, whatever it is. But from a very young age, everybody wants to influence us because they want to help us, right? And as you said, not everything's helpful, right? Because you start to assign different meanings to it. And then
Mhm.
before you know it, you're acting upon that. And it might serve you and it might not. And that's what I like to talk about, disempowering beliefs and the things And that's where we sort of get in trouble, right? But most of what we think we know and spend our life doing, they were never our choices in the first place. There's two things that most of us don't want to hear is that you're exactly where you are today based on the choices you've made in your life. And that's a very hard pill to swallow for some. You don't want to own that. And then there's also a reality of I was never really making the choices in some cases. I was doing the next thing that everybody said or thought I should do, right? From the very beginning when you're going to be a good little girl. And then we know what a good little girl looks like. A good little girl is helpful. She's never mean. She's always. So we describe that and then we have that big piece, right? And then it's, well, if you're going to make it in the world, you got to work hard. Well, I've got to work hard. I've got to compete. I've got to get out there, but I still have to be this good little girl. So sometimes the things we think we know and we want to take as these tools that others gave us are sometimes in conflict with each other.
Yeah.
So, they just kind of continue to roll. So the way to get out of that and the way I work with my clients is, well, first of all, we got to start with clarifying what it is you want in the first place.
Mm.
My 5-year-old granddaughter will tell you that she either wants to be a doctor or a ballerina. Right? And we've seen the little boy that's going to be a fire. My brother used to be, he was either going to be a priest or he was going to be a dancer because my mom used to listen to, certain music. They're pretty far away, so we're pretty impressionable, right? But
Yeah.
you kind of, as you grow, your choices get more limited. Mom and dad say, you're going to college, you're going to do this, you're going to live here, you're going to do, and they're guiding us. But the truth is, most of those choices were never ours. And we've embraced them, and some of them have been good, but some of them have not been good. So the first place to start really is to get clear about what it is you really want in all facets of your life. Number one question, they say, if you can read about it all you want, it's the hardest question for any of us to answer. You want to stump somebody at a party, ask them what they want.
Like, I was just gonna say to you, like, how do we figure that out? I don't know if I still know what I really want. Like, it's a tough
That,
question.
it is for sure. I start a lot of my talks out with, how many of you still are figuring out what you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And usually people laugh, and then there's a little bit of an uncomfortableness because it's like, oh, that would be me. That
Yeah.
would be me. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you know what? At any point you can pivot, at any point you can adjust and add to what you already are. But so how do you get there? Most people start out with what I don't want. We're very clear on what we don't want, right?
Yeah.
So that's a process that I take people through. And we go from what we don't want to what we do want. And we break it down into pieces. What do you want with your business, your career? Why do you want that? Why is a big important part? And
Mhm.
then the second part is like, okay, so now you know what you want. Let's say for your health and your relationships and all the things that are important to you. And now you've got a pretty clear idea, and you'll get clearer because there's never one answer, right? As you unpack this. But so the next thing is okay, now what is if you really want that? And I really kind of test that because sometimes we think we want things we really don't,
Yeah.
especially women. We want to be, we see the runway models. Well, I want to be a size 5 too. Well, do you really? Because at 5'10" to be a size 2, you're going to get to eat about 700 calories a day, and you got to, is that really what you want? So we test and we see if the acid test, is that really what you want? Do you want to run your own business? Here's
Yeah.
what it takes, right? So you have to take that big look. So you figure out what you want, then you figure out what's keeping you from it, and that's where the beliefs come in. Where did you get that idea? And
Mhm.
what if we could rewrite that story? Or what if we could take a new empowering stance? Melissa Peer has a book out there that I just love, and it's called Tell Yourself a Better Lie. So
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, and it's really good. It's a real simple, this doesn't have to be, 3 years on a couch anywhere. It's kind of like, wait a minute. As you said, we misinterpret sometimes, or we give meaning to things that didn't really matter. It challenges that. It says, okay, is that really what that meant? Or is that what that has to mean to you today? Maybe not. So you get clear on, what's blocking you. And then you decide, when you know what you want, why you can't get there, you give yourself some new empowering beliefs. That's sort of the tell yourself a different story, maybe, or you just see things for what they really were, and people for what they really were. We expect so much from our parents, and looking back, we want to blame and put shame on, and why wasn't I loved? Well, we just take a fresh look. Is that really what was going on, or how could you rephrase that? So, and most importantly, you got to learn to forgive and love yourself, because we really challenge ourselves of all the things we could have done better, especially women. We're always redeciding, right? So then the third and, big piece of that also is, now I know what I want. I know what's been keeping me from it. I know what I can do instead. So who do I have to be in order to have what I want? Not what do I have to do so much, but who do I have to be? Is this something I'm ready to embrace? Am I ready to embrace new beliefs, or embrace beliefs that I buried a long time ago? Am I willing to embrace my own values in order to get where I want to go? And if so, then what are you willing to do to get that? Because I really believe that every person out there deserves to live their vision, their life, their way. And I also really sort of know most of us aren't doing that.
Yeah, it's fascinating what you're saying, and it sounds so simple the way you're explaining it, but I'm hearing voices. They're all going, yeah, but you don't know what I've gone through. Yeah, but you don't know the circumstances that I'm suffering in, or yeah, but. So can you address that a little bit? Because you're explaining this beautiful blueprint on how to create an amazing life and amazing business. But I can hear it. I can hear our audience going, yeah, but that just sounds way too easy. Where's that yeah, but coming from?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say it's not hard, but it's probably not easy either. It's something you need to commit to. And it's for those people that really want to take their life from successful to significant. And there is a big difference. And I think at this stage of the game, or this stage of everybody's career, when they've, got the business, you don't need another self-help book, frankly. If information were all we required, we'd all be, what is it they say, rich, thin, and, have everything we wanted, right? Because information's not a problem. Experiences. So to the butters, and I've spent my time being a lot of that, what's really required is you got to get out of your story. Because there's nobody at, pick an age, 40, 30, whatever, really nobody gets out alive, right? They say there's nobody that's unscathed. There isn't anybody that couldn't go, you have no idea what I've suffered. I mean, everybody's got trauma. There's, they could be to all kind of varying degrees, and everybody can hang on that. What it is it's a decision to say, today and going forward, I'm not going to live my life that way any longer. Because you can hang on to the stories and the yeah buts as long as you want. And my question is, how's that serving you? How is that serving you? Is that taking you where you're going? We just do a lot of unnecessary suffering at the hand of our own minds, right? We torture ourselves, and it's pretty unnecessary.
I love where you're going with that, because I can totally see how it's our story that we tell ourselves, and we justify that story with the facts that we seek out that will justify that story. Ignore the facts that don't justify that story.
Exactly.
Because is it true that, like I mentioned the subconscious earlier, is it a case where the subconscious is keeping you in that story, even though it's not where you want to be, but it's where your subconscious is safely held? Is that kind of what's going on here?
Yeah, that is such a powerful thought and so true, right? So if you think about the subconscious versus the conscious mind versus, our bodies, our health, our healing, souls, whatever. Okay, so the subconscious mind, that's its job. You said that early on, and it's like a record player, right? Or a record, right? The old,
Stuck
albums, I
in
guess
the
we
same
call them.
loop. Yeah.
There's definitely grooves, and literally everything that's happened to us in our life is in there, ready to be played in our subconscious. And one thing that we all need to know too is that the more heightened our emotions are when any of those events happen, the deeper the groove. So those traumas, those things, you fell down, dad didn't pick you up, whatever it is, whatever you've got as what's going on, when something meets you in life and it brings up that same emotion, your subconscious mind cannot do anything other than to go right back to that space because that's how it's created. It
Mm.
it goes to that safety notion. And so, that's why changing our habits is so very hard. That's why willpower doesn't work because it's just very hard. So you have to take the steps to really reenact another life. One thing I'm not sure everybody knows or has experienced is the fact that whatever you tell yourself, whether it's real or not, is true to you.
Right.
And when you go to look for evidence for that, your brain will search and search and search for proof that you're right. So this is a small example, but it was a weird example. It was something I used to do. I used to say I had mind movies. I could take a situation, and I did it frequently as a young person, and even growing into my 20s. I created these movies of all the things that weren't so great. And I think I thought I was teaching myself to not put myself in that position again. But what I was really doing was traumatizing myself over and over because every time I recreated that bad situation in my mind, my physical self experienced it. That's
Mhm.
why, we can not only make ourselves sick, and we can heal ourselves, but it's largely to do with that subconscious mind. So it's really important to know what you're saying to yourself, what you're putting in, and really calling yourself out. I'm big on the monkey mind and talking to myself and not letting myself go too crazy. That's one of there's so many techniques and so many ways to stop that and to address the yeah buts. And one of them is to realize when you're in that yeah but.
To recognize it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and just say,
Yeah.
"How's that serving you right now? Does it?" You can argue all day about anything. Is that a benefit to you, or
Right.
are you open to a new possibility?
Yeah. And open to acknowledging that it could be different, and we need to,
Yeah.
yeah, we need to kind of address that. And if I may share a really personal story, because it's so appropriate for this, because it's so bang on. And at the time I didn't realize that that's what happened, but it is. So years ago, I won't get into a lot of detail, but we were really badly victims of identity theft, like
Oh,
really
wow.
severe. And it put me
Mhm.
into a depression. I couldn't get out of bed. I played Tetris until 4 a.m. Like
Wow.
my whole, I gained tons of weight. And and I was wallowing. I was absolutely wallowing, replaying every sad scenario in my life.
Yeah.
My subconscious wanted to keep me there because that's where I needed to be to save myself from the reality of what was going on. That was my yeah, but it's interesting that you said it ends with a decision. And I woke up one morning and I said to myself, enough, enough.
That's right.
And I got out of bed. And that day I enrolled into my business degree program. And I went back to school. We were flat broke. We had lost everything. We were about to lose our house. But if I went back to school, I got student loans and we lived off of those student
Oh,
loans. So there's a solution to everything. I mean, I was at the bottom of depths. This is before eVision Media started, just before. It was literally the catalyst that got eVision Media began. But, for anybody out there who is really struggling, who has no money, who is going over these challenges, and if any of what we're saying today is resonating with you, that It's much easier to just lay in bed, put the covers over your head and just wallow. Man, is that easy to do. But is that serving you? Is that getting you where you want to be? Is that, is that really what you want to be doing with your life? And all you have to do is decide. And so if you're ready to make that decision, I'm going to invite you to have a session with Kathleen, because Kathleen will help you. You don't have to do this alone. And there's lots of people out there who are very qualified, who have the tools, who have the expertise. And Kathleen is one of them. And she so graciously is offering you, our viewer, a 60-minute discovery session with her for free. And I'm going to read to you what she promises, that you're going to leave with 3 things after this 60-minute session. And you're going to get clarity around what you really want. And we talked about that, Kathleen. Like, a lot of people don't even know what they really want.
Most of us don't.
Yeah, right? I mean, I wouldn't even get into my story about what I don't know what I really want. And so she's going to help you with that. And then she's also going to help you identify what's keeping you from having it. So she talked about, that next step, and then know who you have to be and what you do to have what you want, what to do in order to have what you want. So I love how you had phrased that, Kathleen, that our circumstance that we're in right now, this is who we are. This is our mindset right now. This is the thoughts that have gotten us to this position at this moment in time. Okay. But if we want to get 10 steps ahead, however that looks like, we need to be and do something different. Otherwise, we're going to keep doing the same thing and get the same results, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And I love how you described your roadblock and all the horrible things that sort of led to it. And I want to ask everybody to open up to that possibility, because what if it wasn't the worst thing that could happen? Because in that moment, I'm sure you felt very much like it was the worst thing that could happen, but look where it led you. Look where it led you. Once you let go and said, what can happen now? You discovered possibilities, and somehow you were guided to make the right choices, because it's brought you to where you are today. And everything's not a dead end. Roadblocks are not necessarily dead ends.
Yeah. They might need a shift, a pivot, or a leap or something. But just ask yourself, what if? What if there's another opportunity out there? What are the other possibilities that I'm not seeing because I haven't allowed myself to see them yet?
That's right. Stay curious.
Open yourself up to that possibility and just say, enough. I'm ready. And so go to www.callwithkathleen.com. You'll see that link somewhere in the show notes here. And please take her up for that free gift. I think it's an amazing opportunity to get you starting to think about the what ifs and what opportunities are right on the horizon that you're just not seeing. And it's okay that you're not seeing them. I want to make sure, Kathleen, right? We are not here to condone or condemn or judge or anything. We are here to help you understand that there is answers, there's solutions, and there's possibilities and opportunities out there waiting for you. You just need to see them.
Yes, you're so powerful, so talented, so needed in the world. And I really implore you, whether it's me or somebody else, don't let that dream die inside of you. Please don't. Let's at least talk and find a way to make it happen for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when you're done working with Kathleen and you have that vision and it's crystal clear, then you come back to me and I'll help you fulfill that vision.
Yes. It's teamwork here.
Teamwork. Yes. Yeah. Because that's why I'm doing this series, because I've worked with so many entrepreneurs and they think they need me, but what they need is help to get through these roadblocks first. And then they're ready to use my guidance and my expertise to help them get positioned and shine in the world and achieve their goals and get them seen and known and heard so that they can help so many other people.
And that's what we're looking for. The world will be such a better place when we're all doing what we're supposed to be doing and helping each other and doing that with ease.
Yeah.
Let's stop the suffering. The business is not meant to be so hard. It really can be a very enjoyable ride. We want to help you get there.
That's
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it
Yeah.
all starts up here. It all starts up
Yes, it does.
It does. So thank you so much, Kathleen. I so appreciate this conversation. I love it that that we introduced this idea to everyone, the possibilities. And I hope you, the viewer, are leaving with a little niggling of hope and just thinking about, just sit in quiet a little bit and just think about it and watch the replay and just kind of explore the possibilities and ask yourself, what if? What if?
Yeah.
And just see
Yeah.
what
What's
happens.
waiting for me? Yes, exactly.
Oh,
I
thank you.
can't wait to see what can happen for you.
I
Because it's
know. Please.
amazing.
Yeah. And let us know. Please let us
Yes.
know.
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Kathleen. I so appreciate you. And I appreciate the goodness that you're bringing to the world and the amount of help that you do with people and getting them help to overcome these challenges, because we know that
Yeah.
everything is overcomable.
It is for sure. It is for sure. Thank you so much.
Oh,
It's
you're
been
very
great.
welcome. All right. Well, talk to everybody next time. And please lead your life with kindness, not just for yourself, but for others as well. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
Yes. Bye, everyone.